The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 4. Go back to bed with me. After handing Steward Wang the plum blossom cakes, Xiu Sheng went to the study. This was a room in the southeast corner of the main courtyard and located right opposite the main room. It was early in the evening and the sky was still lit, allowing one to see that in front of the main room, a maid was kneeling and Xiu Sheng could hear her sobbing voice. This should be the one Steward Wang mentioned who had angered Chang. Xiu Sheng did not have much of an impression of her. For many years, he had been stationed at Yanzhou and rarely returned to Yejing. Even after he was called back to Yejing, most of his time was spent at the barracks. The matters of the Wang manor had all been relinquished to Steward Wang. He himself might not even remember the faces of everyone in this household. In fact, he was more interested in how Chang would deal with this maidservant. From the information his subordinates gathered, Chang and his younger sister, Xianyu, both had their mother's mellow temperament, making their lives very difficult in the arduous environment of Prime Minister An's manor. Even the maids would brazenly bully them at will. If it wasn't so, he wouldn't have brought him back to the Wang manor. At least here, he could provide him with a safe and peaceful environment. Xiu Sheng watched as Steward Wang entered the main room's door. ******. And Chang was sorting out the books that he had brought with him. Although he had been married off, Madame Li had said that he was a man and everything should be simple, unlike when a girl was married off. As such, she had sent him off without any dowry. His possessions were only some useless items they had been given to him out of spite, and the rest were books. And Chang and Anfa were tidying their things when Steward Wang came in. Steward Wang bowed low, holding the pastry box in his hand. His attitude was much more respectful than before, even his tone was humbler. "Wang Fei, Wang Ye has ordered this to be given to your highness." It was just a box of snacks. Any other lower-rank servants could have brought it over, but Steward Wang was a man with experienced insights. From his master's behavior, he could detect that there was something more to this Wang Fei. Thinking of his cockiness this morning, he felt a chill and had to redeem himself by personally delivering the item. And Chang looked at the box with some uncertainty. Opening it, there was a piece of oil paper and on top were 8 plum-shaped pastries. A light pink stuffing was wrapped with a white layer of flour, looking delicate and appetizing. "Wang Ye told you to send this over." And Chang blinked as he looked at the elegant delicacy in his hand, unable to relate it with the majestic and fearsome northern warlord. "Yes, these are plum blossom cakes of San Weizai. Wang Ye most likely went to get it especially for your highness," Steward Wang said with a smile. "Thank you, Steward Wang, for your trouble." And Chang tried to visualize the scene where Xiu Sheng went into the snack shop to get this for him and found that it was too unimaginable. But looking at the pastries in his hand, the restlessness from last night seemed to have dissipated. "Where is Wang Ye now?" Steward Wang replied, "His Highness went to the study." And Chang considered it and said, "I'm going there to see him." Steward Wang thought of Yan Hong, who was still kneeling at the door, and said, "This servant will have someone take that unruly girl, Yan Hong, away. The procureur will be coming tomorrow. Does Wang Fei want to replace the girls with people within the manor, or have the procureur bring someone new? Tell them to bring a few boys over." Having received his order, Steward Wang retreated. He also dragged Yan Hong away while she cried and begged, "Godfather! Godfather, please let me see Wang Ye. His Highness won't treat me this way." Steward Wang had seen the situation too clearly. Although he was a little unwilling, after hearing from the other servants and knowing that Chang was actually a kind-hearted employer, he dared not take her side anymore. He pulled a long face and reprimanded, "You think Wang Ye is someone you can see just because you want to?" He signaled to a servant boy and he understood. He came over and covered her mouth while dragging her away. Unexpectedly, Yan Hong bit him and broke free from his grasp. Picking up her skirt, she ran towards the southeast corner, heading for the study. All the way, she was crying out, "Wang Ye, save me! Wang Ye save Yanhong. Yanhong was pretty to look at. Her hair scattered as she ran, and when she reached the doorstep of Xiao Zhiga's study, she fell weakly on the ground and sobbed. Seeing this scene, anyone would want to rush over to help and comfort her. It's a pity that Xiao Zhiga was not just anyone. Xiao Zhiga remained unmoved. He looked at Yanhong with indifference and scolded the servant boy, "Why are you still standing there? Take her away and make sure that she doesn't bother Wang Fei." The servant boy frantically complied. He quickly covered her mouth and pulled her away. And Changqing saw the scene from a distance and his brows eased up. He looked at the bowl of noodles in his hand and thought that his effort was not for nothing. Growing up in the marquis manor, he had learned how to tread carefully in front of others. He had to depend on himself for many things, and thus the idea that a gentleman should stay away from the kitchen did not apply to him. When he heard that Xiao Zhiga was in the study, he went to the kitchen to make him a bowl of noodles in return for the plum blossom cakes. At the same time, he would attempt to coax him back to the main room with him. If they continued to live apart like this, there would be many more Yanhongs who would come between them in the future. When Changqing brought the noodles to the study, Xiao Zhiga was sitting at the window reading a book on warfare. He sent Anfu out and placed the noodles directly in front of Xiao Zhiga. Has Changqing done something to make Wang Ye unhappy? Xiao Zhiga's ear moved. He put down the book and looked at him. No such thing. Then does Wang Ye not like this Changqing? Xiao Zhiga paused briefly before answering, no. Then why didn't Wang Ye sleep with me last night? And Changqing looked at him with red eyes. In fact, he did not want to cry. A man shouldn't casually shed tears. Even when he had suffered countless grievances in his last life, he hadn't cried. But simply asking Xiao Zhiga a few questions had made his eyes red and his nose sour. And Changqing was ashamed of himself and tried to stop the tears from flowing. If you don't like me, why did you ask for this marriage? As a man, did you think I would have wanted to marry you? Xiao Zhiga saw his red eyes and his raised hands were at a loss for what to do. He was not well versed in comforting others and could only frown and said, I know you weren't willing. Do not worry, I won't force anything on you. In the future. If in the future, you really do not want to stay in the Wang manor, I will let you leave. And Changqing did not know when this future would be from his words, but the part where he said he would let him go made something snap in his head. The tears rolled uncontrollably down his cheeks. Wang Ye just denied disliking me, but now you want to send me away. And here I thought we could spend our lives together. Let's not wait any longer, you might as well send me back right now. And Changqing was agitated and upset. He raised his hand and wiped a handful of tears. He sniffed and picked up the bowl of noodles and threw it out of the window. Since Wang Ye dislikes me so, then you probably wouldn't even want to eat the food I make. Xiao Zhiga had remorse on his face, but when he saw a blister on Changqing's finger, he grabbed it and asked sternly, what happened? And Changqing's was still furious. To think that he had thrown himself at this person and wanted to spend his life with him, it's none of Wang Ye's concern. Xiao Zhiga sighed. He carefully avoided his hand and opened his arms to embrace him. With some helplessness in his voice, he said, it's not that I don't like you, it's just, Xiao Zhiga did not continue. He had initially wanted to protect him under his wings. At least in this way, his days would be better. But when the wedding was about to start, he had heard that Changqing had protested at Zhikao because he refused to be wedded to him, leading him to be dosed with an anesthetic and locked up. It was then that he realized maybe Changqing did not need the protection he wanted to offer. To Changqing, he was probably only a stranger with a bad reputation who had forced him into an unwanted marriage. It was just that after they had gotten married, letting him go had become a lot harder. He could only stay away so as not to scare him. Although he did not expect Changqing to like him, he did not want to see the fear in his eyes towards him like those of the others. Then why didn't you sleep with me on our wedding night? Since he'd blown this out of proportion, and Changqing no longer knew shame. He raised his head and asked, "Do you know what the maidservants were saying about me? They said that I'm a Wangfei in name only and that I can never win your favor because I can't even bear your children." Xiao's Higa became silent again. He was vexed about his inability to coax the other person. Without a doubt, he wanted to consummate this marriage, but not when Changqing felt that he was being forced to compromise due to his power. He did not want him to have any regrets. Not getting a response, Changqing started crying again. He was born a delicate beauty, the red eyes and pink cheeks were giving Xiao's Higa a heartache. He almost wanted to lick the tears off his face but was exercising restraint, so he wiped them with his thumb instead and said softly, "I don't dislike you. Whoever dares to insult you, I will deal with them on your behalf." The pitiful northern warlord had braved countless battles all these years, but he never knew how to coax someone. The only times he had ever shown any gentleness were to the Wangfei in his arms. But this fuming Wangfei was not easy to please. In truth, Changqing had already been appeased the moment he was wrapped in his embrace, but seeing that he was taking the lead, he took a leap. He sniffed and looked at Xiao's Higa. "Really?" Feeling relieved, Xiao's Higa nodded and said, "You have my word." And Changqing looked at him and his mind was freed of doubt. After regaining his confidence, he made a request, "Then come back to the main room and sleep with me." Xiao's Higa took a deep breath. "All right. Worst comes to worse, he could always spend more time each day practicing his spear to maintain his restraint. Change all the maidservants in the main courtyard to manservants. I don't like to be waited on by maidservant. Everything is up to you." And Changqing was finally satisfied. He stopped making a fuss and relaxed in Xiao's Higa's arms. Feeling the person in his arms loosening up, Xiao's Higa heaved a sigh. He then held Changqing's hand and asked, "What happened here?" And Changqing curled up his finger and said without much care, "I accidentally scalded it when making the noodles." He was born with sensitive skin, just a little graze on the boiling pot could easily form a blister on his skin. It was not a big deal, but to think Xiao's Higa would be this attentive to it. "Stop touching it, I'll apply some medicine for you." Xiao's Higa frowned and sat him down by the window. He then brought over a candle and a needle which he sterilized with the heat from the candle flame. Holding his hand, he carefully burst the blister before applying medicinal powder to it. Xiao's Higa treated Changqing's wound with utmost care and efficiency for fear that he would be in pain. The general with a cold-hearted appearance was holding his hand like it was a fragile treasure. And Changqing observed his every move and his tears built up again. All his life, other than his mother and sister, no one else had ever been this meticulous towards him. Xiao's Higa, on the other hand, thought that Changqing was crying due to the pain. His movements became gentler and with the wooden face of a puppet, he said softly, "It'll stop hurting in a bit." And Changqing gave out a muffled "n" and looked out the window. He said with a little embarrassment, "I'll make you another bowl of noodles tomorrow." Xiao's Higa objected immediately, "Don't. Leave those to the servants. You have to look after your wound." And Changqing looked at his neatly bandaged finger and smiled smugly. "Now that's even better." End chapter. The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 5. "Come on, I'll warm the bed." After dressing up Changqing's wound, Xiao's Higa ordered for the study to be cleaned up. The bowl of noodles that Changqing threw out the window still remained. The servant who came had long heard the commotion. He neither dared to look up nor even breathe loudly. When he saw the shattered bowl of noodles, he could only lament for Changqing. It was only their second day as newlyweds and he had already made Wang Ye lose his temper. It seemed that his days would only get worse. Xiao's Higa had unknowingly borne a black pot for his Wangfei, who was currently leading him back to the main room. The main room remained unchanged since the wedding night. The red candle still stood on the table and the red golden python pattern mattress was still laid out on the bed. The window was pasted with the double happiness characters and every corner still gave a sense that the wedding was not over yet. The heating in the room was still burning as a mild fragrance filled the air. Xiao Zhiga's eyes darkened as it unconsciously glued to Changqing's back. Changqing had taken off his heavy cloak when they entered the room and now he was only wearing a light blue robe with a silver sash at the waist. A piece of twinfish jade attached to a flower knot and golden tassel was hung at his waist. As he walked, the clanging sound sent an itch right from Xiao Zhiga's ears down to his heart. Xiao Zhiga couldn't help reaching out and realized that Changqing's waist fit nicely into one of his arms. Like a willow, too thin and fragile that just a little more force would hurt him. He thought to himself that such a delicate person, he would have to protect him with extra care. By the time they left the study, it was already nighttime. Changqing first took a bath, then changed into moon-white sleeping robes and waited for Xiao Zhiga to go to bed together. He had contemplated for a long time in the bath. Although he still could not figure out why Xiao Zhiga refused to make love to him, it was fine as long as he came back to stay in the main room. Such matters cannot be forced and hence, it was best to let fate take its course. As such, when Xiao Zhiga came back from his bath, he immediately saw his Wang Fei with his hair down and his face flashing him a sweet smile. In a chirpy voice filled with pride, he said, "I've made the bed." There was a pause in Xiao Zhiga's step before he could make a straight face and walked calmly towards the bedside. "Let's turn in early." Changqing did not notice any anomaly from him. He climbed into bed and laid on the inner side. Patting on the empty space beside him, he beckoned Xiao Zhiga to come quickly in a soft murmur, "The mattress is a little cold." Xiao Zhiga touched the bed and it was indeed chilly, even the hand of the person lying on it was cold. He took another deep breath and laid down, hugging Changqing into his arms. "Come closer, I'll warm you up." Changqing was stunned for a moment but he quickly recovered and complied, happily placing his cold hands on Xiao Zhiga's chest for warmth. The man had been practicing martial arts all year round which gave him a sturdy body that radiated heat. Lying next to him was like lying next to a big stove. Moreover, since Changqing had fallen into a pond when he was younger, his hands and feet had always been sensitive to the cold, especially during the winter months. In fact, Changqing had initially coveted that big heating stove but his skin was not yet thick enough to shamelessly lunge himself at him. Now that he had offered his body, Changqing naturally accepted it without any qualms. Maybe because of Xiao Zhiga's meticulous treatment in the study, the estrangement in Changqing's heart dissipated considerably. With that, even the act of sneaking his cold feet over the man's leg did not seem too indecent. Xiao Zhiga dared not hug him tightly but Changqing was like a little monster fidgeting and rubbing against him, causing him to feel smitten but at the same time felt his restraint being tested. After having to endure till he couldn't anymore, Xiao Zhiga held him down and said sternly, "Sleep." Changqing, who was indulging himself with the warmth, said "oh" reluctantly and finally stopped moving. Xiao Zhiga heaved a sigh of relief but right after, he saw the person raised his head again. After a while, he asked, "Is Wang Ye free tomorrow?" Xiao Zhiga had to steel his nerves again for fear that Changqing would make another request that would perhaps shatter his restraint. "There's a martial arts competition at the barracks tomorrow, I have to be there." "What's the matter?" Changqing heard his answer and withered with disappointment. He replied with a dampened tone, "Tomorrow is my San Chao Hui Men. Since Wang Ye is busy, I will go back alone, it's not a big deal." Xiao Zhiga froze. It quickly dawned on him that on the third day after the wedding, the bride should visit their natal home. Since Changqing was a man and Xiao Zhiga was a long-term resident of the barracks who had never concerned himself with such traditions, this ritual completely skipped his mind. On top of that, his steward, who should have made the necessary arrangements, assumed that he did not like Changqing and had neglected this matter. "I'm sorry. It's my negligence." The thought of Changqing's plight in Marquis An's manner caused Xiao Zhiga to feel guilty. He pondered briefly and said, "Tomorrow, I will send you back in the morning. When the competition is over, I will come back to accompany you in the afternoon, is that all right?" And Changqing was not expecting to get an apology. The gloom immediately disappeared and he was happy again. All right. After that, they both entered a night of good sleep. The next day at the hour of Mao, Xiao's Higa woke up. And Changqing was curled up with his face snuggled close to his chest, still in deep sleep. His cheeks were pinkish and his lips were slightly parted, looking innocent and very much unlike the troublemaker that he was when awake. Xiao's Higa observed him fondly for a while before getting out of bed with the quietest of movements. He then tucked him under the blanket and called for Steward Wang to the study. /Note, hour of Mao is 5 to 7 a.m. What have you prepared for Wang Fei's homecoming ceremony? Xiao's Higa sat on the master's seat and asked with an indiscernible tone in his voice. But having served him for many years, Steward Wang instantly knew his implications. He knelt down and pleaded, "This servant is incompetent. Wang Ye, please pardon my negligence. This servant will get to it now." Xiao's Higa's eyes were like daggers pointing at him. He then gave Steward Wang a stern warning, "Give yourself the appropriate punishment. Pick the gifts from the inner treasury. Make sure to prepare extravagantly for Wang Fei's mother and the second young Misson. Ensure that something like this will not happen again. As your Highness commands. This servant is aware of my mistakes." Steward Wang stood up with trembling legs. He wiped the sweat on his forehead and said, "This servant will go get the gifts ready. When it's done, this servant will head over to receive his punishment." Xiao's Higa waved his hand, "Go. Make sure to show Wang Fei the list when you're done." *******. When An Changqing woke up, he saw that Xiao's Higa was already training with his spear. He was wearing a black archer's sleeve embroidered with silver threads. His black hair was neatly gathered, exposing his straight and muscular back. He moved his golden and black spear with ease as it created a current through the air. And Changqing leaned over the window and watched, not realizing that he was being enticed. No wonder the rumors claimed that he had the spirit of Tai Sui. With weapon in hand, his eyes were oppressive and cold. If it wasn't for the warmth he felt last night, and Changqing would not have believed that this brutal general could be so caring and gentle. And Changqing's eyes softened and couldn't help calling out to him. Xiao's Higa heard his voice and immediately put his spear away and walked towards him. There was still a ferocity in his appearance, but the light in his eyes was tranquil. "You're awake. I'll call someone to get us breakfast. After that, I'll escort you back to Marquis An's manor." And seeing the sweat on his forehead, and Changqing took a handkerchief and wiped it for him. Xiao's Higa tensed up reflexively. But when the soft skin brushed faintly across his cheek, he gradually relaxed as a glow shimmered in his dark eyes. And Changqing did not notice this. After wiping his sweat, he followed Xiao's Higa to have breakfast. By the time they finished their breakfast, it was just when Steward Wang finished compiling the list of items for homecoming gifts. He respectfully handed it to An Changqing and asked for his opinion. Noticing the extra herbs for his mother and the jewelry for his sister, An Changqing was touched. With Steward Wang's attitude towards him yesterday, he was certain that this hadn't been thought up by him. As for who had arranged this, the answer was clear as day. He looked at the man sitting next to him and flashed him a bright smile. "Thank you, Wang Ye, on behalf of my mother and sister." Xiao's Higa spoke to him earnestly, "There's no need for thanks." The pair set off for Marquis An's manor afterwards. And Changqing did not know how to ride a horse, so he sat in the carriage while Xiao's Higa rode alongside it on his horse. The Marquis An's manor was located in the Shi Lane near the Imperial Palace, about 15 minutes away from the Wang Manor in Hutong Lane. But the time it took for the carriage to reach there was longer, and they only arrived at the Marquis An's manor at the hour of Chen. /Note, hour of Chen is 9 to 11 a.m. Getting wind that the northern warlord's carriage was approaching their gate, neither An Zhikao nor his wife, Madame Li, were thrilled. And Zhikao even frowned as he said, he was only married recently, why is he coming back? Madame Li knew that he did not like this son. She was about to fan the flames when it hit her, today is his homecoming ceremony, isn't it? It was only then that the residents of Marquis Anne's manor began to get busy. No matter how much he disliked An Changqing or how Xiao Zhiga was unfavored by the emperor, their status remained unchanged. One was the Wang Ye, who was a distinguished general with outstanding achievements, and the other was his Wang Fei. Regardless of how much hostility he felt towards them inside, he still had to keep up an amiable appearance. Disrespecting the royal family was an unpardonable crime. Madame Li quickly ordered the servants to open the main gate and send word to the rest of the family members and have them dress up appropriately. The men were to change into official robes and the women had to make themselves presentable. When everything was in order, the old matriarch and An Zhikao led everyone to the main gate to greet Xiao Zhiga and An Changqing. When the Wang Manor's carriage stopped at the gate, An Zhikao's smile was flawless, as though they had prepared everything beforehand. Wang Ye, Wang Fei, please come inside. We've been waiting for your arrival. Xiao Zhiga remained on his horse and only nodded casually at An Zhikao, completely lacking the familiarity between in-laws. With the same expression given to a stranger, he addressed An Zhikao, Prime Minister An, I still have business to attend to outside the city. I'll be leaving after sending Changqing here. He then turned to An Changqing and relayed to him that he would come back as soon as possible. After which, without paying much heed to anyone else, he rode away. An Zhikao was brimming with dissatisfaction, but thinking of the northern warlord's infamous temper and the rumors that An Changqing was not well liked, such behavior was not too unexpected. Without Xiao Zhiga's presence, the smile on An Zhikao's face faded. The crowd then led An Changqing into the manor. An Changqing and his mother did not have An Zhikao's favor. They had no voice in the Marquis's manor and even the servants could step on them. Now that An Changqing was married to Xiao Zhiga, his status in this place had changed overnight. Although An Changqing was originally forced to marry off, seeing him in glorious clothing and sitting on the high seat while they had to address him respectfully, the An family was immensely dissatisfied. The An family had 4 branches, with An Zhikao being the eldest. And because the old matriarch was still alive, the house had not been divided. These 4 families currently lived in the 5-entrance courtyard. Besides An Changqing, the third young master, there were 2 other sons and 3 daughters. The eldest son and daughter, An Changyu and An Xiangzi, were birthed by Madame Li, An Zhikao's legitimate wife. The second young master, An Changduan, and the third miss, An Xianji, were birthed from Lady Lu. As for An Changqing and his sister, they were the children of Lady Yu, An Zhikao's concubine. Lady Yu had stoked An Zhikao's wrath for some unknown reasons, and coupled with the fact that she came from brothel, even her 2 children were not spared from the oppression. In the beginning, everyone was worried that she would regain An Zhikao's favor and dared not go overboard. But after the several times that An Changqing was bullied and An Zhikao did not speak up for him, they had turned unruly. And after many times that his father had stood by while he had been faced with injustice, An Changqing no longer expected anything from him. Knowing that retaliation would only aggravate the bullying, he slowly learned to endure. In the 2 years before he was married off, maybe because the young masters and misses had been satiated, they rarely went to look for him for trouble anymore and was only throwing a few insults and ridicule at the sight of him. A pheasant that thinks it's a phoenix, and Xianji sitting below grumbled loud enough to be heard. The hall had been quiet as no one was speaking, making her voice particularly prominent. Instantly, everyone present had their eyes on her. An Zhikao frowned slightly and reprimanded her without any severity in his voice, "Ge-er. The third miss is still young and ignorant. Wang Fei, please do not mind her." Lady Lu tried to mediate and even gave An Changqing a pat. She then turned to An Xianji and said with leniency, "Quickly apologize to Wang Fei." End chapter. The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 6. Protecting Wang Fei. I remember Jier has reached the age to be betrothed, hasn't she? She is not a child anymore, and Changqing looked at his half-sister who was younger than him by 4 years without any affection. He remembered the winter when he was 10 years old, when that the doll-like and innocent and Xianji had giggled as she pushed his sister, and Xianyu, who was 1 year older than herself, into the lake. Like him, and Xianyu had been bullied since childhood, which had caused her to develop a timid and weak personality. Moreover, because they were not well provided for, she was much skinnier and weaker than the younger and Xianji, who had shoved her into the lake effortlessly. And Changqing was lucky to have witnessed it and jumped down to save her, almost drowning himself in the process. After that, he was inflicted with a high fever, and it had been since then that his body became averse to the cold. As for Xianji, Zhikao only said that she was still young and did not pursue the matter any further. And Changqing lowered his head and sneered. He was not going to swallow this insult in silence. Bestowed with a second chance, he was not going to let anyone trample over him again. If she is still this insolent after entering her husband's family, I'm afraid she would implicate her in-laws with the crime of disrespecting the imperial family. He looked towards Zhikao and smiled faintly. Father, as a minister serving in the imperial court, you should know the danger of thoughtless words and how it could bring disaster to the whole family. Looking at the An family's distorted looks, and Changqing daintily sipped his tea. Although we're a family, we should still maintain a separation of status. Even if I'm not bothered by it, Wang Ye, who has always attached great importance to rules, might be angered should he find out about this. Wang Ye's temper. I'm sure you're all aware, and Changqing fixed his gaze upon the pale-faced Xianji and smiled deviously. If Wang Ye's wrath was incurred and he wanted to pass out punishment, even I dare not stop him. Jier, don't you agree? And Xianji looked at him in disbelief. She opened her mouth to retort but was pinched by Lady Lu, who was sitting next to her. She bit her lips and almost tore off her handkerchief before grudgingly saying, Wang Fei is right, Jier was in the wrong. And Changqing nodded. He then ignored her and turned to talk to Xianyu. At this time, only his sister, Xianyu, was present. His mother, Lady Yu, had stayed in the back courtyard and did not come. According to the rules, his mother could be present but she wasn't. As Changqing's biological mother, the An family would have let her come if they had respected him as a Wang Fei. But no one in the An family took him seriously, and naturally, they did not call for Lady Yu to attend his homecoming ceremony. And Xianyu was just as he remembered, quiet and shy. She was obviously beautiful like their mother, but she always held her head low and never dared to speak up. And Changqing sighed and touched her head with much heartache and asked about her studies. The An family came from a long line of scholars. Even the young misses were all taught academically before they were married off. And Xianyu was quiet by nature. Her only hobby was reading and writing, which she had excelled in. But when Changqing raised the question, she drooped her head and answered skittishly, I've stopped going to the classroom. And Xianji finally found the right nerve to poke at. She interjected with a sneer, and Xianyu cheated in a test and was expelled by the teacher. She continued, it's true that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. She was referring to the fact that Changqing had also once been expelled from class. The An family's classrooms were divided by gender and separated by a brick wall. The male students were all from prestigious backgrounds and were taught by famous scholars to be specially trained for the imperial exams. Although Changqing loved to read, his choice of books were all on medicine and agriculture. He had little interest in learning the 8-part essay. This, along with his background, had made the teacher look down on him. Later, he had been framed by Changduan and a female student for cheating, and without even hearing his side of the story, the teacher had expelled him from the class. And Zhikao knew about this and had found out the truth. But between the second son, who was clever and likable, and the third son whom he hated, Zhikao had chosen to protect his second son's reputation. It was also then that Changqing's feelings towards his father turned stale. Changqing glanced at his father and Changduan, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Ge'er's words are very reasonable, what do father and second brother think? Their expressions immediately turned a shade darker. As a high-ranking official, Zhikao had only enjoyed the flattery of the people around him. Never before had he received such mockery, and it even came from the son he despised the most. Zhikao was deeply insulted by the sarcasm in his tone, but there was nothing he could do. In the end, he diverted his anger towards Xianji. What happened to the proprieties that you've learned? If you can't so much as learn that, then don't you dare leave the house anymore. His words were overly harsh for Xianji to bear. She had been pampered since young and had never been publicly reprimanded. The brim of her eyes turned red. She did not see the fault in her words and continued to stare at Changqing with a hatred that she was powerless to act on. Being continuously smacked with Changqing's show of authority, the An family came to realize this: the once unfavored son had grown a pair of hardened wings. He was no longer the boy they could bully at will like in the past. Being protected by him, even the timid Xianyu had become someone untouchable. As the hours went by, the time for lunch had come, but Changqing did not move, making the old matriarch pull out a long face. She leaned on her crutch and gently reminded him, "Changqing has now grown up, and so has your endurance." Changqing looked down and responded nonchalantly, "Having lived here all these years, the things I had to hear and see every day, I was bound to learn something from them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to see your grandson sitting here today." The old matriarch's face turned unsightly, but she did not say another word. After all, she was not blind, so how could she not see the bullying Changqing and his mother had to put up with through the years? It all came down to the fact that she had been prejudiced against Changqing's mother due to her lowly background, that she had allowed their mistreatment to go on. The maidservants brought in the dishes just in time to save her from the dreary conversation. After eating, Changqing requested a visit to his mother, who was living in the back courtyard. At this point, Zhikao had become increasingly agitated the longer he had looked at Changqing. He told him that his mother was ill and let Madame Li accompany him to the backyard while he himself went to his study in the front courtyard. Hearing that his mother was ill, Changqing became worried. He did not need Madame Li's company and went straight to the back courtyard. The mother and son had been living in the Linghong garden, which was located in the farthest corner of the Marquis Anne's manor. The road leading there twisted and turned. Because no one tended to it in the winter, it was overgrown with weeds and had become desolate. Changqing had left this place for many years, but he had never forgotten this path. He eagerly strode forward, but someone stopped him in his tracks. "Third brother is looking impressive today." The speaker was leaning on a tree, and with his beady eyes, he looked at Changqing from head to bottom. Like a poisonous snake, he slithered his tongue to lick his lips. Changqing froze in place and looked at him with disgust. "What are you doing here?" "Waiting to see my good cousin, of course." "Have you turned your back on me now that you're a Wang Fei? You're not even willing to call me brother anymore." Changqing sneered and stood up straight. "Before, you wouldn't have dared to behave as such." Changqing straightened his back. He looked unfazed, but his body was tense. He caught a glimpse of the big and muscular Xiao Shi standing behind, and only then did he relax. This was the guard whom Xiao Zhiga had left for him. Times are different now and people will change. Changqing smiled. "Looks like you've done a good job serving the northern warlord." "How was it?" "I heard that the northern warlord has peculiar interests. Do you think you can stand it?" The words he said were explicit and unpleasant. Seeing that Changqing's face, although pale, enhanced his eyes and brows to look more beautiful, he couldn't help but take a step forward and reached out to touch it. But before his finger even reached his cheek, a long and cold blade was pointed at his neck. The tall-built Xiao Shi had moved in front of Changqing and cast him a deathly look. He issued a cold warning, On Wang Ye's orders, those who disrespect Wang Fei are to be killed without amnesty. Oh, it's only been a few days and you've already learned how to bark with your master's power. And Changqi said with a distorted look and vileness in his eyes, third brother is quite skillful. Xiao Shi, do it. Refusing to hear another foul word from him, and Chang Qing gave Xiao Shi a direct order. Having received the words, Xiao Shi exerted his arm strength and thrust the blade at Changqi's neck without hesitation. Changqi fell backward, and after the pain had kicked in, he touched his neck and saw that his hand was filled with blood. His eyes widened and his expression turned twisted as he glared at Chang Qing. He gritted his teeth and screamed, "You little whore! How dare you!" Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Thinking of Chang Qing, Xiao Zhiga immediately left the barracks for Minister An's manor right after his work there had concluded. Having heard the news, Ji Cao went out to greet him in person. When Xiao Zhiga said that he wanted to see Chang Qing, Ji Cao was a little surprised. Wang Fei went to visit Lady Yu in the back garden. "I want to see him," Xiao Zhiga said, "lead the way." Xiao Zhiga's commandeering attitude gave Ji Cao great annoyance, but he dared not disobey and led Xiao Zhiga to the backyard. Halfway there, they could hear someone speaking in a sarcastic voice, "Looks like you've done a good job of serving the northern warlord. How was it? I heard that the northern warlord has peculiar interests. Do you think you can stand it?" Ji Cao's face changed drastically. He wanted to rush over and stop that voice but was held back by Xiao Zhiga. Xiao Zhiga's complexion had turned ghastly pale and his eyes gleamed with a powerful killing intent. But the person speaking was still oblivious to his looming demise and continued, "Oh, it's only been a few days and you've already learned how to bark with your master's power. Third brother is quite skillful." Xiao Zhiga's figure disappeared from Ji Cao's side. And while he was pondering on how to smooth out this matter, a bitter cry pierced his ears. The voice was very familiar. Ji Cao froze and realized that the owner of that voice seemed to be Changqi, his nephew from the second branch. He ran forward and saw that Xiao Zhiga was holding Chang Qing with one hand while whispering something to him. On his other hand was his black and gold spear with blood stains on its tip. And in the withered grass not far from them was Changqi clutching a broken hand, wailing and rolling in pain. Ji Cao knew then that this would not end well. If only the person who had spoken ill of Chang Qing was anyone else but that one in their family lineage, he could have easily dealt with him and let this matter be closed. Unfortunately, it just had to be Changqi. Changqi was the only son of his second brother, Nzhizhou. Although Nzhizhou did not follow the path of an official, he had become a successful businessman. His wife was also the favorite daughter of the Sichuan prefecture's largest merchant. With the backing from his wife's family, Nzhizhou's businesses had all flourished in a large scale. Although Ji Cao was the eldest son and an appointed minister, his salary alone could not support both the expenses of their massive manor and the expenses to maintain his social connections. All these years, it had been the second branch that had handled these expenditures. This was why even though Changqi was a first-rate lecher, Ji Cao was still quite fond of this nephew. But now that Changqi had expressed indecent thoughts towards his cousin while also in the presence of the northern warlord, Ji Cao couldn't possibly smooth this out when he was not even sure he could help preserve Changqi's life. Countless calculations swirled in his head as Ji Cao looked at his third son being covered by Xiao Zhiga. He calmed himself and bowed to Xiao Zhiga, "Wang Ye, please have mercy. Chang Qing and Changqi have always been close since childhood. Their jokes could get a little vulgar, but by no means was it meant to disrespect Wang Ye. Please forgive him this once. I will make sure to give him a good scolding and will not let this happen again." Ji Cao had a silver tongue and was used to twisting the truths to his liking. Clearly it had been Changqi who had harbored improper thoughts for Chang Qing, but in his mouth, it had become a mere joke between cousins. He eyed Chang Qing and deliberately slowed down his speech and added a hint of authority to his tone, "Chang Qing, you're well aware of your cousin's temperament. He had always been good to you when you were young. Although you both had a little misunderstanding and his words are unpleasant to hear, he is not a bad person. You won't let your cousin be killed over a joke, right? And Changqing was trembling with anger. He turned his face from Xiao Zhiga's embrace and looked at An Zhikao with ominous eyes. Father wants me to spare him. An Zhikao's face twitched, but he continued to persuade humbly, you've always been special to Changqing. You knew. And Changqing had a sinister smile on his face. His eyes were filled with hatred and even his voice started trembling. So, you've always known. End chapter.